macroeconomy at large here on the show and not just stocks. So today we decided to talk about infrastructure. Is there a hurdle when it comes to the infrastructure push? How is fund mobilization being a challenge or not a challenge, particularly for Sagarmala, which is an ambitious project of the Narendra Modi government being spearheaded by Nitin Gadkari. Here's K. Ravichandran, the senior VP at ICRA, joining us. Hi, there was a budgetary support of only 600 crores, but of course that's just the start of it. While we say this is not sufficient, the fact is that this first needs to be deployed before Nitin Gadkari should even go back to the central exchequer wanting more money. Would you agree?
Yeah, currently, many of the projects, envisaged that they are under detailed feasibility study stage. To the extent, maybe for this financial year, you don't require, big outlay. But going forward, the government also would be required to infuse equity for some of the greenfield port projects. Government has identified 6 greenfield port projects, 2 in Tamil Nadu, 1 in Karnataka, 1 in Maharashtra, and other one in Orissa, and last one in West Bengal. Each project would be taking anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 crore, for completion. So equity infusion would certainly be required from the ministry side. Maybe from 1920 onwards, additional infusion, additional allocation would certainly be required, to make good progress on these projects.
How long do you believe the remaining 200 projects would take to kickstart?
Yeah, see, we believe 1819 and 1920 would see a fair amount of awards on the port expansion and also port connectivity fronts. While we don't see too much traction on the port-led industrialization side, because therein attracting investment itself would be a challenge from the private sector. But with regard to other two legs, already a fair amount of work has already happened, and we believe more bids would be happening in the next 2 years, which would be good for the private sector, because if you look at the EPC contractors or other BOT developers in the overall infrastructure space, they would get fair amount of opportunity on the port side.
And finally, what's your outlook in terms of the project completion? Do you think that it can be completed within the deadline of 2035, or is that sounding a tad ambitious?
Yeah, 20 years certainly is a reasonable time frame, for this kind of ambitious initiatives. Because some of the projects are long gestation in nature, so to the extent you really require a long-term, planning horizon. While some projects, can be done anywhere from within 1 to 3 years. So wherever gestation period is shorter, progress has been fairly swift. Wherever attracting investment and more work is required, on the feasibility stage, projects would be somewhat delayed, and to the extent continued policy push will be very important to attract private investments.
Right, unfortunately, that's all we have the time for to talk about Sagarmala with you. But thanks as always for joining us here on ET Now.